Hello, hello, and welcome back to the next Summoner Scuffle. It's been 4 weeks, and we both miss it, and we're ready to jump right back in. How you doing, Fuzzy?
I am doing great. This Friday thing is kind of awesome.
It's weird. We're just like partying on a Friday night. I don't. Yeah, we're normally Saturday or Sunday afternoon.
Well,
The
thank you for being accommodating about Easter weekend.
I'm
Even if you
so,
don't celebrate Easter, there are egg hunts, there are priorities, there's life
I
priorities.
I don't have kids, and so I neglected to think of it. Uh, yes, yes. Well, and thanks to our two players for agreeing to come on this time as well. We have Allies versus Magus. I'm excited for these two. Allies has been on the stream a fair bit recently, trash talking my forged play every time I'm with them and giving me tips. And Magus as well has I've played him on the stream. He's also was a part of the crap, what do I call it? The Draft Mania event. I did that. I think Magus has been a playtester for a while now. Allies joined recently with this latest deck. I sort of just assume everyone's part of the league. I don't even check. I'm not sure. Well, maybe. But yeah, two great players. um, they apparently I reached out to one of them, but apparently they had been chit-chatting among themselves. They're both a really big fan of the Forged, and they're always playing the Forged, and they must have been talking trash one day, and they said, all right, the only way we're gonna settle this is if we both come out the scuffle and play a Forged mirror match. Somehow that's not what's happening. They backed out of it, didn't have the guts for it. So instead, we're doing Cloaks versus Obsidian Dwarves. Uh,
And that's going to be one of the first questions I ask them when we get to chat is they said that they have the same three main factions, Forged, Cloaks, and Obsidian Dwarves. So I actually can't wait to see what makes those three decks appeal to the same person twice in stereo.
right? Yeah, I missed that. Like, I get Obsidian Dwarves and Forged, but then like Cloaks.
I mean, does this mean we'll see aggro cloaks and not like Vexer style or Massimo style, just shoot from the back row until your opponent dies of frustration?
I bet we will. And here's just like a weird theory I've had in my mind. Like I've just been thinking about like the logic symbol, and the logic symbol is like structures and upgrades, and it makes sense. But like it is fundamentally called logic, and I'm just like wondering if there's some like thread of decks, so like the Cloaks and the Forged and Sand Goblins and Polar Dwarves that have like just a certain like way of playing or thinking that they all encourage, and I feel like there is. And I don't really know what it is. All that I know is I don't really like it. I don't tend to like logic decks. I don't like. There's some. It's not just structures. It's also like some way of playing. I don't know. So maybe they'll know.
I can't wait to ask them. I feel like I associate logic with the sliding block puzzle of Polar Dwarves, Ice Ram, Glacial Shift, and there's got to be more to logic than that. I don't know if I'm logical about playing the Forged, though. I don't know if I do anything other than instinctively charge forward
Yeah.
blindly.
I've done a lot of chatting with allies because about the Forged, and he says like the more you play, the more you'll get more nuanced games than that. Like if the enemy is like knows how to play against the Forged and is successful in that, they'll keep you back enough that you sort of need to play an econ game, and now you're going to start using champions and like trying to be aggressive but also compete for the econ, and that's where it really gets good. I've never gotten there. I just charge forward. There's been no nuance to my forge play whatsoever, and it's been going great. um
I think I haven't been in as much of a rush to get good before the league matchups. I feel like factions are only new once, so I'm happy to savor it until the next ones come out. I'm happy to let the learning curve just stretch itself out with a long tail, even if I'm not immediately amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what are we living for? But we should introduce these factions, if just briefly, before we get started here. Fuzzy, you rather talk about Obsidian Dwarves or Cloaks? Pick your poison.
Oh, what do you want to go first? Well, I feel like let's start with Obsidian Dwarves.
All right, let's do it. Do you
This
want?
might be our most scuffled faction.
Is it? You like that's the sort of thing I should be keeping track of, but I'm not.
I think people like to play it. I mean, it's true on the app as well. I definitely queue into these guys all the time.
They're fun. They S tier fun deck. Like,
I think the fun is definitely unbridled aggro. I also think these guys have more nuance than they're necessarily given credit for. It's not just about Balzar being pumped up to, 7 attack and volcanic blast everyone. I mean, that's the grand finale, that's the climax. But to get there, you're also trying to charge up Devura and Volcor. There's times you want to be low, there's times you want an Ember Demon to take one of those boosts off so that you have a better chance of gaining boost when one of those guys, Volcor or Devura, wants to gain boost along with you. So there's really more tempo and tempo variability, tempo options, tempo texture to Obsidian Dwarves than I think we tend to give them credit for. Like they were Allies and Magus were both saying at the top of this match that, this could end in 4 turns or it could take 2 hours. And, it is true. There's always the chance of, the godlike hand and dice, and it's just kind of silly. I've gotten beaten in those games. But Obsidian Dwarves can go longer than we tend to give them credit for. They're not just this one-dimensional aggro deck. Despite the Volcanic Blast finish, that if you don't finish with Volcanic Blast, you're clearly doing something wrong.
yeah.
Cinematically speaking.
Yes. I usually think about Obsidian Dwarfs as like you want to go forward, you want to be aggressive with Balzar, and that's your plan A. And your plan A involves like being strategic about when you make the jump. Like you don't want to run forward and expose Balzar on 3 sides. You probably want to have gates, maybe some demons to spawn off of, so Balzar's going at the same time. But like generally with Obsidian Dwarfs, I like to think about there's a moment where I'm making the jump, I'm jumping into the enemy field, I'm attacking their 10 health gate, and that's being aggressive. And then the plan B is if Balzar is damaged and I want to pivot to like having an 11 health Volcor or something. That's how I tend to play Obsidian Dwarves. Do you think you do something similar, or do you see the strategy differently?
I think I kind of see it as there is only one way this movie ends, but how you get there can vary a lot. Like I don't think Obsidian Dwarves have a great plan B if Balzar just gets destroyed early on before the game even starts.
Yeah.
So if you're on plan B, then you're kind of hoping for a weird board state, crazy dice, or your opponent making mistakes. But how to execute plan A has a lot of plot twists that I think it's easy to miss when you look at the stereotypical plan A of just charge forward and don't look back. There's a lot more to plan A than just kind of this mindless forward rush.
Yeah, as there would be, for instance, with cave goblins or something. No, I joke. I joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, you satisfied with that? Want to move on?
Sounds good.
And we've got the cloaks. Cloaks, no one really knows what's going on. They just do some stuff. And with that, I think we can get started with our game. No. I still don't get this faction. I think I need to. And something I've like appreciated more and more. Like I've always been a Cloaks hater, but like so many of their tools like require so much skill to like really get to work. I still think they're busted, but like it like in a way that's just like really interesting. They're like the ultimate assassinate faction with Out of Shadows and like more movement possibilities than you could ever possibly want, with guild gunners plus moto boots plus machinists moving in the attack phase. Like you can just sort of always get there. Maybe, probably, I can't, but someone else probably could. You have snipers that can shoot through units. So that's like really good against summoners that need to get aggressive on you, like Balzar. I think this matchup is kind of tough for Balzar just because of how easy it is for the cloaks to get damage on you. You got these upgrades that are probably going under a Machinist, and Vox is going to copy it to effectively be a fourth, an 8-13 for the whole game. Maybe not. Smoke Bomb is like on docket as like one of the best, if not the best event in the game for just like you can just like stack all your units and then against some decks just make their turn entirely nullified. They just cannot do anything. If you have a smoke bomb in the right place, then they just can't attack anything else. Dagger is very good for your assassination plan. Get in, get behind the enemy summoner, do a ton of damage, swap places with a 0 cost. Stop Vox gets to copy the abilities, so Vox also swaps places to get a kill. Yeah, there's some other cool stuff like getting the touchdown to escape if you get to your opponent's back row. That is Cincinnati or the Bandits. A lot of tools, and they usually kill you.
The bandit's ability is less like a touchdown and I don't know, more like a safety or something. Like the rule you can't even remember and don't know why it exists. And whoever uses it.
Until you're in a terrible situation and you're like, oh wait, I could run away.
This is true. The runaway ability is useful. The +1 magic, I just literally forget that that's a thing. But that's a digression.
Huh.
Yeah. There we go.
Remove
There's
height.
Mr. Baggins.
Nuh-uh.
Mr.
Heist
Baggins,
is
who
great.
I am stealing the inspiration from. You were the one who said in Discord, no one knows what heist is. Get rid of it. And I
No.
literally had
Heist is
no idea what
great.
he was talking about. Literally.
All
What
right,
one
you're
magic?
a part of the problem. No, Heist is great. I mean, I love that about like all of the Cloaks units. Like, there's so many just like weird things, and like I love the plays where Vox gets in there. Like so many games that I play against good Cloaks opponents, like they will just be hanging back, and then suddenly they rush forward when I'm like kind of not expecting it in an awkward position, do a bunch of damage to me, and maybe then they get trapped, and then Vox uses Bandit or Sinsin to get out of there. I think it's great. I can't believe I'm defending Cloaks. Love Heist, love Infiltrate.
The fun Cloaks games are so cinematic. The ones where
Yeah.
Vlox charges in and basically has like 3 turns to make the kill before he is just pinged to death. And if I recall, I think the deck building finals, Ascurial's Cloaks versus Prophet's High Elves were like that.
Uh-huh.
Just super involved Vlox. The Vlox
Yes,
game,
yes, I
the
remember that.
Cloaks games that are not fun they're not. For me, it's not even the Machinist in a corner ones. It's the ranged sniping that goes on forever.
Massimo.
Yes, the Massimo games. Although I could say, I enjoy watching Massimo set Shadow Elves. I think it's just masterful. But Massimo Cloaks just drives me nuts somehow. I'm just like, do something, do something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, with
So
that,
we'll,
you
yeah,
good if I tell him to get started? It'll still be a minute.
I think that's the idea. That's why we're here.
Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, we'll see whether that happens, whether they're hanging back or whether you get more aggressive. Cloaks can really turn on a dime. They can do a lot.
I'm going to ask them how they decided who was going to be Cloaks and who was going to be Obsidian Dwarves. All right.
We'll see. Oh, and there's the game. Let me pull it up.
Oh, yes. I need a moment to pull it up myself.
This is the invite link. You guys don't know how game links work. Oh wait, no, that's the invite link. Okay, wait, no, they don't. Never
No, I clicked on the invite link too, I believe.
mind.
Wait, come on, allies.
Blame them. I think
There's an error joining. None. Okay, I think that's the invite link. All right, Ben 10 is typing. We will get this show on the road.
I think
I feel
my
like
yeah, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying like I always thought of Cloaks as kind of this slightly incestuous like drama club or like theater group. Like you can picture the interpersonal dynamics being exactly the same. Just like who's feuding, who's dating, who's broken up, and it's just this merry-go-round that you can't keep track of. But
Yeah, Blocks has that
so
grin on
in
his face for sure.
yeah, so and Vlox is that diva that is always running late. The show does not start until Vlox like rolls out of bed. All right, we have a game.
And Obsidian Dwarves going first, that's what you want to see. And the chains you could forfeit for that Machinist, man, that'd be huge. Wow.
Oh, does anyone like the Machinist? Everyone's just rooting for the starting Machinist to die.
Die, 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 die. Come on. Damn it. Grata says, Phlox was a big jerk in first edition. Wonder if he still was.
All right, I am having a moment.
Okay. Are you able to see the game? We just did some
I
attacks.
am, but I am. No, now I'm like going to my own games. All right, then the show needs to go on. Well, I'm on a different computer, and like I'm watching Aaron destroy me. Like,
That happens.
all right, I'm
It's a
just gonna
terrible
watch. I'm gonna
experience.
I'm gonna be my I'm gonna
That's
watch on
okay.
the Twitch stream.
Okay, I just DM'd you the link again too, if you pop on Discord.
No, I have the link. I was having to change some settings
I
so
see.
that I could auto dismiss the attack animation and not be behind.
And then
All right.
everything was ruined. I can also
Yeah,
stream
pretty
in.
much. No, I just need a moment to
Yep.
not panic and not click the my turn arrow.
Yes.
All
Oh,
right.
I've done that. Well, we're just sitting here waiting, and that's a good start for balls are getting in there. I like not calling the guard too, because there's like, yeah, you might take some damage or something, but you gotta live risky. I think balls are just sort of in general. There's always going to be some amount of risk you're taking. Like balls are rolling well, I think can beat any deck.
Yeah.
um, but Balzer is like one of those summoners, if not like maybe even the only summoner that you kind of just need to accept if the rolls don't go your way. That just might be it, and that's okay.
In a way, I'm gonna be possibly the minority position staking out Balzar long game. When you don't rush, there's more chance for the rolls to even out and for the
Interesting.
ebb and flow to go your way. But my Obsidian Dwarves are skewed. I would say I lose a lot to them in open queue when I'm sloppy,
Yeah.
and I dial in for league games. And I feel like they're interesting in league games because how fast what kind of tempo you choose, what you discard, what you prioritize is actually pretty different matchup to matchup. At least in the league games that I've really focused on and really, tried to hone in on of, like, am I going to, do I want both, for fungal dwarves, do I want both Valkar and Divur? How many berserkers am I going to have to discard to make that happen? Versus the cave goblin matchup. Oh my goodness, berserkers are actually good. Cave goblins have trouble chewing through all that meat, and there isn't enough time to get both champs out, or all three
Yeah.
champs
Yeah.
out. So I always like to give these guys more credit for, they're not necessarily playing for attrition, for the end game, but they've got more tools to make the game go long enough that it's not just an RNG fest.
Yeah.
There's, but that said, I am never more tense for any dice rolls in any faction. Like there's no faction that just ratchets up the tension, the Vegas tension with each dice roll than Obsidian Dwarves. Like I really sweat the Obsidian Dwarves dice like no other faction.
Yeah, it's hard not to. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm recalling we'll have to ask Magus about this after the stream. I recall talking with him about the Obsidian Dwarves and like him having some particular philosophy about like dice rolls and what sort of risks to take or something like that. I feel like his position was, do we have a gate here? No, we don't. What was that it was Balzar is more consistent than people give him credit for.
Oh
So
my
we will have to
goodness,
ask.
was he? I think someone was opinionating about that on Discord. I now don't quite remember if it was Magus.
Yeah, yeah.
Magus. We'll have to ask him how to pronounce his name too. All right.
Yes.
All right. Does Allies know it's his turn?
Oh, I think
Okay.
I think you're behind.
I am shit. Okay. Okay, why weren't you talking about the game? All right, we
Oh,
have
I'm
the
sorry.
game. Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Where-
No. I was afraid of that when I started twiddling with my settings. I needed to click play again. All right, so we got action. All right,
Yes.
I'm not way behind like that other game.
No. You missed a turn where allies popped a smoke bomb, and now Magus is like I wasn't expecting him to go forward. We just went up two spaces with Balzar, but we have 3 guards, so I guess this is defensive enough on that side. Interesting. That feels. I feel like I would put that guard on the left of Balzar.
Oh, interesting. Well, now he's blocking Balzar's retreat too. Okay, and 2 magics, so we're not that close to summoning one of the big champs.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm guessing you see Cloaks at 4 magic, and you're like, okay, I gotta play around dagger, and that's fair.
This is true.
This is true, but like, I don't know. It's turn like 2 for allies with 2 cards in the discard pile. Do you really think that they have both dagger and out of shadows? I feel like I'm willing to take that risk on turn 2, rather than just give the easy shot on Balzar.
Especially when I hate to count this as a determining factor, but we do have that if a game ends in half hour, let's play again rule.
Yes. Which if they do, maybe we should make them do the forged matchup.
Oh my gosh. Now we're like just rooting for this game to end quickly so we
just
can
kill
do
each other
forged
quick,
versus
okay?
forged. No, it's funny. It I say that jokingly, but this game kind of is more fun when you let the crazy things happen. When you're not necessarily
Yeah.
playing in tournament mode. And it doesn't mean play dumb. That's not fun. Playing this game like kids playing war is really, just like take turns swinging at each other is tedious and no fun at all. But kind leaving yourself open to low probability but high awfulness things is a reasonable move, but you don't tend to do it in a tournament game or a competitive game. It's reasonable in terms of, probabilities, math, and expected value, but you kind of don't do it when you feel like you have to play your very best and make the most optimal move.
Yeah. Oh, and Moto Boots coming out. Ooh, that could be a lot of dice on Balzar this turn.
Yeah.
We shall see. What's the plan here? Wow, this game. Might as well get that second link sent already.
Well, it's funny, you and I usually root for the underdog, and now we're just rooting for Forged versus Forged.
Yeah, who is the underdog in this? It's interesting. I think like the biggest decision we've had so far is that turn that Magus just did of I'm gonna head forward with 3 Ember Guards and say that that's good enough.
And also that I'm more worried about Out of Shadows and Dagger than I am about Moto Boots.
Yeah. I really struggle. I feel like when I first started playing Obsidian Dwarves, I was too passive, and then I realized how like good they were when you went forward, and then I was too aggressive. I just like ran forward with Balzar no matter what, and got him killed a ton of the time. And so now I realize that like that fine line between like when do you need to wait to draw the cards? When do you have the cards? It's tough to know. Baggin says, wow, both sides rolling so bad. Balzar could roll some good dice on block this turn. Yeah, I don't think Balzar might be able to get out of this alive. I don't love his odds. I don't think I'd want to be Balzar right now.
I don't love that enemy gate across the midfield.
Please tell me that Balzar's drawn a gate at this point. We really need it.
Well, he still has 3 Ember Guards, but not a lot of boost.
Oh, I'm really worried. I'm anxious. Okay, there we go.
And
there it is.
The gate comes down.
We're fine. Everything's fine.
All right, we're totally fine.
I wasn't worried. You're worried.
This is a hilarious gate formation.
And the willpower. Oh, this will be huge. No chains, though. Deciding we don't need it, which is probably fair. It's unfortunate. Wanted some boost with that. Go ahead.
Well, he could have, or did he take? Or did he willpower?
I think there was a reroll.
Okay, I missed that.
My subconscious heard the whooshing noise, so I could be wrong. But
I'm still not used to this screen layout. This is actually the first time since the app landed that I've watched or played on the new website.
Interesting. It's slightly different in a way that's kind of upsetting.
Yes, upsetting is the correct word for it. Just that feeling of it's change. I hate it.
Yeah, just like someone has moved everything around my room a little bit.
Someone moved the chair in my dining room, and I'm upset about it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely trying to not be annoyed, but within a month, I will send Joe an email being like, all right, the cards used to be 10% bigger on the right. The dice used to be bigger too in the animation. That's those things need to change. It's top priority, Joe. I need to have my comfort.
I don't disagree with the changes. I just take longer and longer the older I get to getting used to someone moving my furniture around.
No, I hate change. It's always wrong. Always the wrong thing.
All right. Balzar's kind of, I dare you with that flank exposed.
Yeah, very, very lucky to have gotten that 2-on-2 on the Machinist that was there. Would have been rough if we missed that. Well, we had willpower though, so it was probably gonna happen. Willpower is such a good event. That's something I've been trying to do with Obsidian Dwarves play too, and I think it was Vexer that cemented this when he gave this tip of just don't just throw away willpower. Use it on a critical turn. Use it on a good turn.
It's one of those things that I definitely had to learn was when to hang on to events and when to just play them. When is it going to cause hand clog and I should just get it out of my hands versus, just holding on for that good turn. And I think people value them slightly differently, but something like For Glory or that Enrage the Horde, I feel like you have to wait until it's a good use of that event. Willpower, I think, started out I'll just toss it down because, it looks good. And I think I'm like you, I'm sliding more towards hanging on to it.
Yeah. No, we both started at the same place of there's events that you'll always hold, there's events that you'll probably just play it no matter what and not worry about it. And there's events that you'll discard, and willpower is started as it costs 0, so I'm probably just always going to play it on the turn that I draw it. Now I'm thinking a little bit more about it. This has got to be a rough position for Balzar, right? Like with spawning a unit behind him, the dagger.
Oh,
Uh-oh. What's the plan?
I guess.
No out of shadows. Just dagger just one-shotting a guard. I mean, yeah, it makes
Well,
sense.
dagger without like dramatic fireworks is darn effective. I mean, she can swap herself in for that bandit back there.
Yeah, yeah.
And, be, well, kind of safe. Not really, but. Okay, that works too.
Swap with the bandit. Swap. Push the bandit back and then swap with dagger. Oh no. I see. Maybe. Okay. No. Gunners don't proc on gates.
Oh, that kills me. I still think gunners proc on gates.
Yeah, it's tough. You need you need like a compendium of what procs on what.
I just need to learn that, Hecatea, gunner, what else? But now Moldaria does proc on gates, so just to mess with us.
Yes. There's very few abilities that like proc on an like attack period, like whether it's against a friendly or an enemy. Like I think Valeria's does, Wind Mage does. Well, I guess maybe a few like Border Archer too. I guess like that's something. I mean, it's something that just comes with the more you play. But I'm guessing with so many factions these days, that's like fairly annoying for beginners to be like, oh my god, there's so many, there's so many after attack enemy unit after attack.
This is a gorgeous Balzar diamond.
I know this is so like because I'm just like Balzar's dead, but then also if we have Volk Blasts, we just wipe the board, so maybe we win. Like Allies is really just setting up the best possible diamond for Balzar here. And we have a gate. There could so be a kill here too. Like we have a gate here.
That's why I would have left that. Well, I guess you don't really. There's no safe two positions, but dagger potentially one turn killed even without a volcanic blast is just okay. We're not going to go for that.
Oh, we'll see.
We might go for that. Dagger one turn kill always just feels so bad.
Yeah. Dagger can just live the whole game. Do a ton. So you think it's good to just play some dagger and get some value out of it passively throughout a game?
Well, I was gonna say yes to that, but not if you can't keep her safe. Yeah. Dagger just taking passive little pokes and keeping herself free from attacks can definitely be effective depending on whatever else is going on the board.
Yeah.
But this was scary positioning because, yeah. Oof.
Well, I mean, maybe the guard will finish it off. I probably would have attacked with an Oathsworn first. We shall see. Balzar, I'm not a huge fan of these gates because I feel like this limits our ability to put pressure as Balzar, but like keeping Balzar alive is also a benefit. So I know that may not have been possible without that gate. So
oh, I feel like those kitty corner gates are always a little bit of a desperation. I need to stay alive move.
Yeah.
Either that or your Sky Spear Avians and just like have too many gates and don't know what to do with them, and shit upsets Shampoo because when it's like dump it for magic. Like you don't need to be Sky Spear Avians and setting up gates like that.
Yeah.
But I think when you're in a situation like that, where you just kind of slam down a gate trying to stay alive, it's pretty hard to work with. All right, Harkarada says, I do wonder if they didn't miss on the rolls, would they have exploded for 4 on blocks?
That's something that that's something that we should have been thinking about. No, absolutely. Yeah, so that would have been for 4 damage if we had gotten the boost there.
Yeah.
That would have been pretty good, and we would have killed our own Oathsworn, but C'est la vie. And that would explain not attacking with the Oathsworn first too, because you're prioritizing getting the boosts. And then after that, you call both guards.
All right. Well, let's see if
will have to ask.
let's see. You know what? Let's test our theories of whether, yeah, 4th health blocks is not doing much after. This is true. They could. You're gonna laugh, Ben. They could both back way the hell off and turn it into a long game.
I do not laugh at all. That definitely happens. Put the pressure on, force your opponent to like panic and discard a bunch of cards, and then just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna chill actually.
I mean, it definitely makes us see if we're willing to put our money where our mouth is, especially me talking about actually riding out the long game and letting the boost ebb and flow work in your favor.
Yeah.
All right, so Vlox is getting a little bit, feeling a little bit threatened too.
Yeah, I'm feeling like we are gonna stalemate in the center for a while here. Like, what else? What else is happening with this wall of gates in between? Unless that wall of gates comes down next turn.
Well, that
which
3 life gate could easily come down.
Yeah.
You know, and then Balzar has a very awkward retreat. I guess awkward, but not impossible. All right, but we're not going after the gate this turn. There's some board states that you just kind of look at and go, this is just insanely dumb.
It's something that I feel like has never like gotten old for Summoner Wars. It's just like every game I feel like there's some like new situation that's a little silly, or just like never have I ever seen a game with gates in these exact positions. Like,
that actually sums up for me in a nutshell why it hasn't gotten old. You know, and you know, I think, you know, kind of competitive juices ebb and flow.
yeah.
You know, like you and Vexer have both just kind of taken this line, yeah, I'm just gonna chill and teach the game. You know, I'm kind of, you know, I'm still in league, but you know, not gonna stress out about this season.
Yeah,
But that said, I think just even though, like I said, competitive juices ebb and flow, but just the entertainment value of all these board states really hasn't gotten old. You know, there's just always some board state I haven't seen before in my life.
Yeah. It's the game. The game keeps being fun. I don't know how it does it. It's criminal. It's just I keep wanting to play it.
Better and better. You know, you know, there's got to be a ceiling somewhere rather than just kind of player skill, you know, kind of, you know, taking off to infinity. You know, I don't necessarily think tournament play is the most entertaining way to play. You know, even though, you know, like I said, getting to that level is a fascinating journey in and of itself.
That's fair. I still feel like I am like barely even a foot deep into that, where I'm fully willing to accept that player skill caps eventually, but it's like, boy, do I feel like I would need so many thousands of games.
Ridiculous. This is
like,
just getting silly.
I mean, that's immense that we're playing an econ game at this point. Like, because Balzar is not going to blast his own forge.
I will be honest, one of the things I love, we all have the weird things that like we enjoy for no discernible reason,
Yeah.
and mine is playing the Cloaks down to an econ game.
Mm-hmm.
Like mine is kind of watching that ragtag band kind of peter itself out.
So getting the enemy cloaks to lose an econ game
Yes,
in
getting the enemy
particular.
Cloaks to lose on econ.
I
I
don't
think
know if
it's
I've.
just personalities and play style, and maybe
Yeah,
just the fact that I don't play that much, so the times I've done it are memorable.
yeah, yeah.
But I kind of love making them fall apart and making their synergy just kind of like go nowhere. And then they're kind of revealed as this kind of ragtag bunch of not that great on their own units.
Man, that sounds great. I don't know if I've ever done that. I would love to. I would love to beat the
I
cloaks
think
at an
I've done
econ
it.
game.
I, I've done it against polar dwarves, and I've done it with shadow elves. So I've done, or no, wait, yeah, with polar dwarves and shadow elves.
I see. I see.
Like our games that kind of stick out in memory as these econ slogs against cloaks, where I just kind of got this very narrow edge. And I'm not saying that's typical of the faction. I'm just saying that's what happened in my personal game history that became what I associate with this particular faction.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Man, there's so many situations with Balzar where it's just like you just really wish you had another guard. Like you wanted the guard on the right side and on the left side.
Yeah.
If Balzar could just start the game with like 5 guards just sitting in the back row that we can call whenever we want, that'd be great.
That'd be like a saga unto itself. How Balzar started out with all these guards that he could just summon anywhere, and now look where he is today. Like whatever he did to piss off those 5 guards that he starts out the saga with.
Yeah, yeah. I want to see it. The sagas are fun. I'm gonna get distracted if I start
Is
talking
that
about the
your
sagas.
most watched video? Is your
Um,
4 hours of saga so that the
I
rest
haven't
of us don't have to don't
I
have to
haven't
play
I
it?
haven't looked at it recently. I don't think it was the last time I checked, but I'm glad people are are watching it or at least clicking on it. Saga's fun. I've been pleasantly surprised by the sagas. I expected nothing because it's a multiplayer game, but like they did a lot with the Vanguard saga. Told a really great story.
Oh my gosh, I've always loved these guys for the story. Even just the story of what emerges on the battlefield. Like, give me a random screenshot of a battlefield state, and I will make up on the fly how they got to this point.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't really know how they. I mean, in this case, they now I just picture them as kind of having like shit talk to each other, like not just during this battle, but before the battle on Discord. So like they're these like tough guys, like, and you think it's gonna be an aggro showdown at high noon, and then they both back off.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
just kind of awesome from a story
They
perspective.
both were like on the monster truck speeding towards each other and then just
Yes,
swerved to
and
the
then they just
side
swerved.
at the same time. All right, I mean, as long as we keep missing on Balzar, we will keep winning the game. This seems like a terrible position for Balzar. Great commentary on my part. Just don't say anything about the whole turn, and then just at the end of it, oh yeah, this seems bad.
But this is not dissimilar to that game, the Baggins versus Ciabatta game, where there's just kind of this isolated summoning spot where one unit, that gunner, just kind of emerges and gets killed, emerges and gets killed. Like
Uh-huh,
that's
uh-huh.
kind of what I mean about messing with the cloak synergy. Like that one gunner, yes, she's 3 attack, but you're not going to get the same value out of having her be alive for a dozen turns because she keeps pulling a blocker in front of her.
Yeah, yeah. I'm now something just clicked with you saying like Cloaks trying to play for the econ game, but then just like ending up being just a rag of nothing with no tricks. Like
Yes.
I'm like, wait, that's what happens every time I play Cloaks. I try to play for the econ game, and then it just falls apart, and I'm like, where did I lose this?
It's because that theater troupe I was talking about, like that drama club, just kind of just lost its direction in all like the petty bickering and infighting and too many breakups. You know, I just find Cloaks fascinating, and I find the debate Astrocosmos started fascinating too. Like, just hey, I did an analysis of all these tournament games, and relatively few boots are machinist in a games are machinist in a corner, like we're seeing just now. I love how like I'm sitting here thinking about this drama club, and they've like Allies has just set up machinist in a corner, loaded arsenal. And
There we go. It's important
all
to
right,
hit.
and we're not retreating either.
All right, I would need to like pull out some stats. I feel like our rolls with Balzar have been pretty bad. Okay, at least we got that one. I feel like our Oathsworns are like yet to get a boost at this point. Seen a lot of misses. Balzar is still alive. I like it. This forge though is getting in our way. I feel like something I realized with Balzar, but then I'm also still doing it all the time. It's like a lot of factions that are aggressive, like with Grognak, you love to go forward and then place an enemy gate like on the front facing spot of the opponent's 10 health gate, just to like have a place to spawn. But like I've realized with Balzar that like that I think that's a lot worse. I think that is not the play with Balzar, because you want to be able to threaten that gate. You want to be able to threaten blowing it up and keep on going. Like that's not the end game. That's just a part of it. So it's much better to like put your gates to the side and be able to keep going forward with Balzar. Maybe sort of like the Inventor. I wonder if like that will spur some talk later on, because the Inventor, a big part is just like you don't want to you want the Inventor to always be able to go forward on your next turn. You never want a Magcog directly in front of the Inventor at the end of your turn. We've all done it. We've all taken those 10 games to get that out of our system.
Okay, hear me out, Ben. Hear me out on this one.
Yeah.
True or false? Logic decks lend themselves to really interesting and involved gate strategy. I mean, we've got Polar Dwarves.
Yeah,
you just
obviously.
made some really good points about Balzar's gate placements. Inventor, what gates?
Yeah, but like it's a similar sort of thing with the
Similar
Inventor.
like building thing.
Yeah.
Similar, you've committed to this edifice that is not easy to change your mind about later.
Yeah. Blocks, I guess I don't think about gates as like incredibly,
true.
I mean like important. I mean like they totally are, but like
No, but they're not like inherently logic. Like they don't have that feeling of like they're just there for blocks. Especially if you're playing Massimo blocks.
Yeah, but I feel like they still have that like seeing the matrix of board states sort of feeling with like setting up out of shadows plays. Like you just need to like be slightly in the right, as I say, like on cue. Like just slightly the turn before you need to have sort of set up. Is Balzar gonna die? Oh, you can out of shadows on the forge. It is a unit. You may not think it, but this thing is alive, I promise. Well, I guess units aren't alive, actually. Balzar's got
I had the exact. Oh wow.
We haven't even started the attack phase.
This is.
Even if we survive this, don't know where we're going. I mean, I actually do know where we're going if we survive that, and that's right in Blox's face. I've answered my own question. We might have just we might just win this game. Oh, the other Machinist too. Huh, that is not a play that I saw. I was like, huh, it sucks that you can't get 3 attacks in the attack phase. Good job.
What life Balzar.
We totally could win right now. It's just, I mean, surely both Volk Blasts aren't bottom two, right? Like, Volk Blast in hand, and we could take the game.
And the Oathsworn actually does their job for once.
Yeah, with 2 Oathsworns attack, and then all we need is Volk Blast in hand. All right, we're doing it quickly, so there's no thinking about this happening.
Oh yeah. And no, don't do that.
Come on, stop thinking. You don't
No,
need to
no, no,
think.
no, 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 no. If you have that Volk Blast, you're not thinking, you're just doing.
We're just teasing us, making us suffer.
You know what? I don't blame him. It's the contingency planning of, even though if he's down to 1 health, it's I do this too.
No,
The contingency planning of, just in case this game goes another turn, have I set up optimally to kind of survive?
All right, and then after that, probably, yeah. So the Balzar math, it's a similar sort of like Tundra Orcs math of like, which units do you attack first for the reroll? I wonder if the correct. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying it's actually not trivial to do it fast and get it right.
Yeah, like which do you attack with the Oathsworns first? Do you attack with Balzar first? So when Balzar attacks, it's more likely to get 2 boosts. Okay, well now we have all the boosts.
All right, now we have all the boosts we need.
Seems like this was right. Oh my goodness, and we're getting 2 boosts out of that.
Well, Balzar's luck certainly evened out. Why is this a question?
The fact that we're thinking about this has me worried that there's no Volk Blast.
That there's no, come on. This is just a Hail Mary.
But what else?
I think so.
What else do you take besides this?
No.
What are you looking for? You looking for 7-on-7? What's the plan here?
No, I think you're right, Ben.
But we gotta have Volk Blast, right? We're more than halfway through the deck. It's gotta be there. Come on. This is just like gotta take a quick sip. No.
Oh.
What? In the BM. It was
with us.
It was just BM. It was just bad manners. just being rude about it.
Oh.
And you can
That's where you deserve to roll like 3 out of 8.
7 dice.
3 out of 7.
Missing 4 damage is like, it happens every time, basically. Every time I roll 7 range dice, we do less than 4 damage. Well, there we go. Let me. Should I offer them doing the inventor mirror nonetheless, or should I tell them to get in here? I don't even know if they'd want to.
Oh my god, I'd want that. I would so want that. But I'm happy either way. You can offer it. That was awesome. All right, Ben and allies are typing. Let's see if we get a chat or just silliness.
We will see. Yeah, I feel like this has made me curious to ask them about logic and about like the similarities across these decks.
What am I even thinking about Forged versus Forged? I want to know what makes these 3 decks just click for both of them.
Well, I already asked. Can't take it back.
No.
It looks like they have smartly declined my request. I think when Jexic and Snalg were on, they played like 3 games in a row, and I was like, all right, guys, there's time for one more. And they're like,
Jexic played
let's go with
three.
that.
Jackson's talked about playing 3 games while making 3 45-minute games while making dinner.
Yes, yes.
All right. I am looking forward to talking about Logic decks and their decks and this matchup. Like, just so much goodness.
Yes. Hello, hello. How's it going?
Hello.
Hey,
Hey.
We
great. What about you guys?
that was a lot of fun to watch. That was the meanest ending I've ever seen.
I asked Allies, like, because you saw
Oh, of course.
the dice roll. I was like,
Did
okay,
see the dice roll.
how great would it be?
You still had the kill. Yeah, and Magus was saying like we've acknowledged that I've won this game, right? So we can go for fun
I
now.
was such a jerk about it. Oh my god.
You had me and Ben sweating. We were just sitting there like, what if he doesn't have Volcanic Blast? Like, what if this was just all a desperation play?
I was like, you must have like spilled milk on your keyboard or something. That's why you're
No,
thinking so long.
it
at
was
the end.
purely just me considering doing the most disrespectful thing that I could possibly do.
I think that is the most disrespectful thing we have seen on the Scuffle to date. So
Oh,
congratulations.
good. I'm glad it's with me.
Yes.
You win the award.
No
Yeah.
shame, no remorse.
For the next one, he's gonna like really feel it. Like for our Forge maybe matchup, he's gonna feel it.
Oh, you think so?
No,
Think he'll take me out
he's
in
gonna know his
the
boss.
inventor mirror match?
We've talked this up so much. I need
We
to see it happen.
This is the sequel. This is what's got to happen.
Yeah, it has to. I want to say like I'm number 2. He's number 3 on the rankings, and Dexter's number 1.
We don't need to look at the rankings right now.
Dexter's number 1. Okay.
We don't need to talk about the rankings.
Pulling up the rankings right now.
Maybe
No.
don't. No, we're good. We're good, man.
Well, we have a million questions for you, but before we do that, I'd love for you both to just introduce yourselves and
Yes.
how you got into the game and like what keeps you playing, what's something you love about it. Maybe Allies, we could start with you. How did you get into Summoner Wars?
Good.
Sure. Before I played like a lot of board games, I was like really into video games, and I played a lot of games where you play a single character and get good with it and just play it over and over again. And I found that video games were not the healthiest hobby to have for me. At least I've spent way too much time on many games. So I've tried to pivot towards like board games because it's healthier, it's friendlier, and I like it quite much. But I still wanted to find a game that gave me that same feeling, the feeling where you have a faction or like a character faction-ish, where everything is inside that, like you have that character and you just dig through it, get better, and find strategies. And Summoner was the perfect hit right away. I heard about it because of Tom Vassell from the Dice Tower, of course. And he talked about it for many like top 100. I don't know if you guys watched that, but I watched a couple of them. And every year it was in his top 10. And I said, okay, let's look it up. There's a web app, so let's see. And it was the perfect hit. Like every faction is like a character in a video game where you just understand it and always find something new. After 2 years of playing that game, I still find new things, and people teach me so much about the faction still. So yeah, that's really my transition from like video games to board games, and finding something that was a bit like the genre that I really liked. And yeah, the art, everything hooked me about it. So yeah, that's why that's how I got into it.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, that's great, and I can definitely relate to that like experience of just like, oh, like this is my character and I want to get really good at that. Like that's so satisfying, and I feel
That's
that
my
too.
main. Oh yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Magus, what about yourself?
Yeah. So I mean,
Also, how do we pronounce your name? Sorry.
Magus is good. I prefer Magus, but I think
I see.
both are appropriate
No,
pronunciations?
we will say
Oh
Magus.
no, I've been saying Magus and then self-correcting because Ben said Magus
I
first.
never assume I am right about Eddie. I'm so bad at pronunciations. Never assume I'm right.
I am less offended about a username being mispronounced. So whatever
This is true.
people want to call
That's
me
fair, that's fair.
Magoose, that is a-okay.
Mangoose, yeah.
Mangoose.
I'm
Mongoose.
absolutely calling you from now Mangoose from now on.
Yeah, so I mean I am a excuse me, I apologize. I'm snarfing down my dinner right now. Oh my god, I'm on stream, Jesus. So many people. Yeah, so I mean I've been playing since first edition. And I remember being just a, little kid who liked games. I was big into Magic when I was younger, and so but there was I just didn't really get as into it as like other people. Magic just got a little bit too like competitive, and there was a lot of just, keeping up with the standard format and everything. And there was just something really accessible about first edition Summoner Wars that I really liked, and just the way, all the way down to like the way units move, the fact just like 2 spaces on a grid, or three units attacking, 3 units moving. Like there's just something about the way it's laid out that's always clicked really well in my brain, and I've always loved the game. And I was super stoked when I saw that it came out for a second edition. I used to play it a lot, play first edition a lot with mostly with my dad, because we didn't have I didn't have access to this, to like, this like online sort of community. But so I would only ever play it with my dad, or if I could get any of my friends to play it. But they didn't want to play it because I'd always, kick their asses, but then they wouldn't get good at it because they wouldn't keep playing it, and I was good at it because I kept playing it. It was like, it's okay, you'll get good if you just keep playing with me, please. Just you just gotta play all the factions, and then what do you mean it's complicated? But yeah, no, I love the game. I've loved it for a while, and now I'm just happy to be playing it, happy to be playtesting it alongside Allies. Yeah, it's fun. Fun
It's
time.
funny, Mangoose, because you're mispronouncing my name.
Oh, is it Allies?
Yeah,
Elite?
it's the noun. Yeah, I know it's weird, but
Allies.
it comes from video games. That's a username that has a history in itself. So
It's okay. It's only
Allies.
mildly corny. I'm kidding. I say that as my name is Magus.
Yeah.
Is this like Chrono Trigger Magus? Please say it is.
That is one of the inspirations for it. It's just a general. I mean, I don't identify with that. Well, that is a pretty dope character. now that I think about it, actually. I mean, it's a cool name. What's oh,
Just like
excuse
Ben.
me. Yeah, Ben.
Yeah.
Ben.
Well,
Like Ben, have you told anybody the little sentence on your Discord profile?
oh no.
What is this?
I
You
mean,
should.
it's there for everyone
You
to
should.
read.
Okay, I won't say it, but anybody that listened, go watch, go read it.
Call me Ben,
it's the-
because I be jammin'.
The secret's out. Secret's
I'm so
out.
sorry.
Oh,
Best
man.
name.
Talk about corny.
Well,
I just got that. Like literally, I'm sitting there like, are you people like making just some millennials reference that I'm too old for? And I finally got it. Don't mind me.
well.
Yes.
We should talk about this game, but I'm also interested in talking about your guys' choice of factions. You guys said that you were both of your favorite 3 factions, and correct me if I'm wrong here, are the Forged, the Cloaks, and the Obsidian Dwarves. So, 2 questions. 1, what is wrong with you? And 2, why those 3 factions?
Go ahead, Magus.
All right, I can go. Yeah, I mean, I'd say they each kind of have a different. I won't dwell too long, but they've all kind of got their own thing for me. For the cloaks, cloaks were my favorite in first edition, and I was very happy with how they translated to second edition. I love doing elaborate out of shadows plays, and it makes me feel smart and cool. And I was saying to Allies as we were talking while we were playing our game, like Dagger was always like my favorite champion. Like I don't know why, I always had, even in first edition, and for those who are unfamiliar, first edition Dagger was did not have Sly, and I think only had, I think Backstab was a little bit weaker, but otherwise it was still 6 health, Backstab, similar cost. And I don't know what it was, but like I always had like really good rolls with Dagger. Dagger was always like all reliable. And then to see Dagger also get the ability to teleport, like, oh my gosh. Forged, it's like the same thing. It's the like layout and like the procedures of like all of the different possible combinations that you can do is so, I find it, and I think I'll just speak for myself. I find it like super
No, you're right.
fun
That's the
and
same for me.
intuitive. Allies and I, we've talked a lot and just like fangirled together over our love for the Forged. And of course that leads to us competing over the number 1 spot in public. Don't look at the scoreboards. We don't need to talk about that.
I would be thrilled to organize a 3-way Forged versus Forged tournament where you try to take down Vexer. I'm down for that.
I'm so down for that.
I would love that. That would be fantastic if Vexer wants to get in the ring with Allies and I. I think we could take him.
I think so.
Listen, yellow is just a number. It's just a number. 2v1.
It's just a number. Like Ben is winning against Vexer. Do you know how bad Ben is? No, I'm joking.
No, it's true.
Oh no.
I'm joking.
Oh my gosh. For shame. We
0 skill game.
And then Obsidian Dwarves.
I love you, Ben. I do.
Love you too.
And then I don't know, Obsidian Dwarves, I think they're fun. Obsidian Dwarves gets like this rep of, they're very, they're understood as like very swingy. And I have never looked at them that way. I think the one time I was on your stream, Ben, we talked a little bit about Obsidian Dwarves. Like I like how I enjoy, I think, the way fire comes into play in like their design, that almost makes the instinct like a bonus. Like it be like the idea of like you're balancing precision and like pinpoint damage and certainty with high dice rolls, uncertainty, chaos, madness, who knows what's going to happen. And like I feel like there's a way to kind of pilot them in a way that like you can kind of lean into the fire a little bit more and be a little bit more in control. But then at any point you can just kind of cut loose and be like, you know what? I want to roll 7 dice and maybe they'll all not have lightning bolts and I'll get even more boost and that will be fantastic.
Yeah, like this game.
So the trick, so what's the trick there to not be frustrated and feeling like it's swingy and every time you miss your boosts it's just like, oh, well, I've lost because of that, this sucks?
Skill issue.
Okay, yeah.
No, I think really what I will go for is like I spend boost often. Like I don't like to keep Balzar like always racking up a high amount of boost, because frankly, if I have a willpower in my hand and an oath sworn out, I can get to 4 boost, with and pull off a volcanic blast from 0. So like I don't always rely on just having like this massive amount of boost on Balzar, and the more the more he's at like 1 boost, I think is like the best spot for him, because then his 3 dice is still like nice and threatening, but it's a nice low number so that the chance of him accruing more boost is nice and high, and then I can spend that on, demons and Ember Guard plays and what have you. But I mean, I don't know. I'm also not. I'm not Magnifico, so like, take my advice with a grain of salt.
No, I mean, I would frame that. And I
Yeah.
think Magnifico said similar, is that the way to play the way to play Obsidian Dwarves is basically to ride that ebb and flow of boost.
Yeah.
There's advantages to being high and there's advantages to being low.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's strangely poetic.
Yeah.
Are you going to write us a poem about Balzar?
I wasn't thinking about it. I just the poem for the Forge. I really liked the line in their description. The inventor stands alone. So like that's kind of where the inspiration for that poem came from. But no,
It's so good.
Don't ask me to like write poems about everything.
You heard it here
Okay.
first.
The bard.
Come on.
Like the bard of the party.
Coming this spring.
I don't think I could do everybody justice.
Oh my god, I would love if like your contribution to that fanfic channel inspires more epic poetry.
That'd be awesome. No, that'd be really cool if other people ended up like with their favorite faction chiming in with poems. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I know. Summoner War Book of Poems. I just feel like this community, I don't necessarily want it to like quadruple in size overnight and change its character, but it feels like with just a slightly bigger community, you'd have like that many more fan fiction writers, that many people who explore these little corners other than playing competitively.
Yeah.
But no, I to get back to your original point about kind of Balzar, you play him for a full game, high and low, rather than just trying to ride this high for a very short game. Yeah, I love that about the faction. It's not my style. Obsidian Dwarves, I would not call it my style, but it's a faction that's definitely grown on me as I realized, they're not as one-dimensional as maybe they were characterized as when they first came out.
They're fun.
Right, every other word in Sneak's poem is an expletive.
Hey, what?
Oh, I'm reading chat. We're talking about Sneak's poem. Sneak's poem.
Alice, I want to hear your thoughts on the same question about the Obsidian Dwarves, Cloaks, and Forge. Why those 3, Alice?
Yeah. Well, it's similar to Magus. It's like Forge it's about the combo tastic. When you have two reconfigure modular upgrade on the board, it becomes a absolutely fun puzzle that you have many things that you can do, and that's really what I like when a faction has a lot of depth, where even when you're only playing tactically, and even if you know the faction really well, you surprise yourself in the different choices you could make, and I'm not sure one is the best. Like there's a couple that I see being very good, and I don't know what I'm like. Oh, I'm fanboying over the fact that this faction can do many things differently. So yeah, it's a bit it's that feeling comes through in the Cloaks as well. It's about Out of Shadow, sure, but I've always I've played Super Vlogs this game because it's a strong thing to do, but I try not to do it every game because I love experimenting, like to put the Moto Boost on other units than the Machinist, and just my favorite unit in the deck is the Sniper, because I think people underestimate how much damage you can pass through other units, and then all of a sudden the aggressive Summoner or unit that they thought safe and were relying on is not so healthy anymore. And it changed the game a bit. So I like experimenting, and Cloaks has a lot of depth. It's a faction people see as complicated, but also I find it a never-ending bag of tricks that I like to explore. So it's a bit the same as Magus, I think. For the Obsidian Dwarf, it's about the incredible turn that you could do. It's a dopamine thing, I guess. It's just like sometimes when it works, I understand the ebb and flow of the Obsidian Dwarf, and I like to play the what is it called, the pizza oven. I'm forgetting, the forge, I guess,
It's
or
called the
the
pizza
hell
oven.
forge.
No, it's called the pizza
It's the
oven.
pizza oven, of course. But I like playing it and utilizing it to the maximum. It's so interesting to have all your units suddenly have a choice of another ability. Like when you think about Ember Guards with 2 strong, it's a fantastic unit now with Blaze Step. It's incredible, and then all your units now become so interesting to play when you have an infinite infinite, well, 6 time, but still. So yeah, there's something about the dopamine big turns that I like about Obsidian Dwarf, but also the feel good of that faction when you have good units on the board. And sorry, Berserker, you're not that good, but otherwise, you know, otherwise I like it. Like there is some assassination potential with the demon, even though it's not that big, but there is some cool things you can do. And yeah, it's just my dopamine. It's my comfort food. I've said that joke a couple of times now, but I think my comfort food is like OD, like the faction you play just to feel good, and sometimes it doesn't, it feels rating, but that's so funny. It's so funny that it's built in the faction, the rage element, the theme of the deck comes through so much with one event. Like willpower for me is the best event in terms of theme that captures the summoner's personality. So 2 times in a game he's gonna control himself. Like it's so good. I love it. So yeah, it's about all those things. Team wise, I like the what they done with the event there, and yeah, that'll be that's
That's beautiful to hear it said that way.
Now that willpower is up, let me ask both of you this. How long will you hang on to it looking for a great turn to play it on, as opposed to just playing it the turn you get it because it's free?
I think
Go ahead, I guess.
I think I mean every game, any game with Obsidian Dwarves that I play that I don't save at least 1 willpower to pair with a volcanic blast, I think I'm messing up. Like and it's not like I need both to link up to both, but I think willpower I have sometimes used more recklessly. Like I will play it and then like I will just kind of play it right away because I wanna rack up boost. I just want to have like a good boost generating turn. Like if I have a decent amount of Oath Sworn out, if I'm setting myself up for a big payoff next turn. Usually though it's if I know that I'm going to have Volcanic Blast next turn, either because we're like way late game, or if I just have Volcanic Blast in my hand, I usually will save it. But like I try not to hold on to, I think in any faction, in any deck, I try not to hold on to a card more than 2 or 3 turns. Because if I'm holding on to it that long and I'm not either generating the magic to cast it or I'm not finding an opportunity to use it, very rarely will I find myself like hoarding it. Maybe if it's like end game and I'm like playing, Cloaks and I want to save like an Out of Shadows for like the last possible kill shot. But like, I don't know. Yeah, I would say it depends. But for me, at the very least, I usually always will save a willpower for its partner Volcanic Blast.
Yeah. I think I would add to that I'm looking for the board state. So if I am in the ebb and flow of going forward with Balzar, I think I will keep the willpower longer, because when you're putting yourself out on the board, you have to it's such a risky play for Balzar, because he can't really go back if you're going too far, and you need such good rolls in that situation that if I'm seeing myself having the board, controlling the board, and the opponent is playing more defensively, and I can't with Balzar, you cannot play really the econ game. It's I think it's really tough against many factions. So at some point you kind of have to go forward, and at that moment there is a very big danger that Balzar is going to get overwhelmed. And I think at that moment you really need good rolls for your pieces to align and close out the game. So I think I very much agree that one willpower will be paired with a volcanic blast, but the other one I tend to keep it for longer and see the perfect turn for it, because it's really something that swings. It can swing, not always, but it can really swing a board in Balzar's favor. So yeah.
Nice. I think that aligns pretty well with, I think, what Ben and I have learned over the course of playing Obsidian Dwarves. I think we both kind of auto-played it at first and then realized, wait. There's more to this faction than that. All right, we've got a question from Hargrada that we were also asking during the game. That turn where you killed Dagger, where eventually you killed Dagger after after that kind of a bad Balzar roll.
Let me see.
Did you? Yeah, let Ben get to it.
I think
I guess I should look at the stream. Hold on.
or in the game. It's turn 7.
Or the game. Turn 7.
Turn 7. I'm pulling it up myself.
Well, I can
so it pulled out. Yeah, I destroyed Dagger that turn. Yeah, what about that turn?
So we were wondering if you had Volcanic Blast in hand then, and whether you would have considered spending it just to like nuke blocks for 4.
I think if I had Volcanic Blast in my hand, I would have tried to kill Vlox. Yes, I would have, because I had a demon in my hand at this time, so I would have summoned a demon right there off of that gate to smack Vlox. God, the fact that there was no, I was constantly like wanting like just an axe at any point. Yeah, if I had demon there, I could have like run up, smacked Vlox, and then just Volcanic Blast, and then shot him. I absolutely would have done that if I had, but I did not. Sadly, I did not get Volcanic Blast until the end of that turn. Like once I finished that was when I finally got Volcanic Blast.
We were wondering about that in particular, because that was a turn where you ended up losing boosts on Balzar instead of gaining boosts, and we were like, crap, if you had gotten the boosts, were you going to do a big blast, but then your whole turn was ruined? But no, that wasn't the plan.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to get rid of Dagger because I know how
absolutely
powerful she can be.
Absolutely.
My hand at that time was really, really bad, so I was counting on you killing Dagger and not focusing Vlox. I really was. I had like a moto boot, a smoke bomb, the Admiral, a gate, and out of shadow, I think.
Yeah.
So I had no units. Like if you like didn't kill Dagger and focused on Vlox, I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah. I just didn't have the means. I also just didn't have the right hand for it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe we can start talking about this matchup, and I also have a question for you. Wait, Magus? Oh God! So, how am I a stream right now? Like you were aggressive very quickly. First turn it worked out very well with the Berserker, but then like second turn you were able to like just sort of hobble it together with the guards, but like didn't have the forward gate that would have been nice and whatnot. Like what how
Sorry, I'm just
aggressive?
going through each of the turns. Yeah, sorry.
No. How aggressive do you like to be with Balzar in this matchup, or like were you on that? This is turn 3. Were you considering it's like, oh, maybe we wait before we go forward because we just don't want to get killed? Are you always just go forward as soon as I can? What's your take on aggression with Balzar?
It depends on, so specifically with Cloaks, I think that my thought process is like I wouldn't have gone this far if I didn't have all of these guards.
Yeah.
Because I had I mean, although the same could be said, like I think if I had a gate sooner, I might have like, done a more forward placing gate and done something a little bit like not as aggressive, but similarly aggressive. No, it's just I had enough guards to be able to approach because I saw, allies had four magic pretty quick, like I think right after turn 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had a bad hand.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So from
I
the
discarded.
get-go, it was the whole time I was saying to allies like, God,
I'm afraid of dagger. Yeah.
so burp heavy this fucking stream. God damn. It was just, like, oh, here comes dagger. Yep, here comes dagger.
Yeah.
But so if I hadn't had the ability to keep my back covered, I probably would not have gone as gung-ho. I do like to just kind of close the distance if I can with Balzar because it's as much as I was saying, like, oh, it's the ebb and flow and it's the, leaning into the fire and the precision. We all like rolling a lot of dice and doing big explosive plays. And the best way to do that is for me to just get in your
Right.
face with a ton of boost and be big and scary. And like, that's fun.
Yes.
But no, I just kind of, that was my thought process, was I had the tools necessary to safely approach Cloaks. I'd say generally there's like a certain distance that I would want to stay at against Cloaks because like too close and they can easily overwhelm me, too far and they can play a better range game. Like I think I just kind of went for it because I thought thought I could. Because I felt like it.
Makes sense. And
Yeah.
go ahead.
Sorry. One thing I would say is that I would like I've tried that matchup a bit before the match, just against the AI to see, and I've realized that this starting setup is really rough. Like going first and second, I think is quite a changer. Like Magus could have killed all my units turn 1 with his setup, and even if he didn't have the Hellforge chain, you could have like bring the guard forward and just killed everything. And Velux is in an awkward position to respond. The forward space blocked. So I think there is something I think swingy, because if it's the other way around, I can block the berserker from going crazy and blocking my gate, potentially damaging the machinist or the sniper.
Yeah.
And like sure, Balzar may not be online as quickly, but I think there is something in the starting setup that makes that matchup maybe swingy a bit. Yeah.
I think we've definitely noticed that in other scuffles. Is just any time one faction can camp on the front of the other faction's gate turn 1.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't avoid that.
Yeah, it's rough.
Player 1,
Yeah.
player 2, when just unit camped on your gate is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a berserk. It's like a big guy. It's not that easy to remove.
No.
It's not quite as bad as a lioness camped on a vanguard's gate.
Absolutely.
No, but it is crunchy for sure.
Yes. No, I agree. It's not, it's maybe like the Beast Rider is bad. The Berserker is worse, and that stupid lioness is the worst. I can't think of a worse one.
Yeah.
But I think that's also kind of the fun of playing live and playing on stream and just rolling with these bad turns rather than stressing out over competitive play. Because, definitely there's something to be said for recovering from that kind of thing. Like, one of the things I love about this game is when you pull out a win that you did not think was possible based on turn one board wipe, bad hand, bad dice. There's something so good about that.
I was very confident that Allies and I could put on a good show, and like I feel like, as much as like it definitely looked like Daddy Joe favored me in this particular game a lot. We were making a lot of jokes about like the dice rolls because I was I think a little bit nicer. Is look at turn 12, like Allies could have killed me. Straight, and Allies even did a thing that I didn't even see, and like
that machinist, the second machinist,
the second machinist, and I was like, oh no, you can get all three. Fuck, that's awesome. Like,
yeah, no, I didn't see that either.
and it was like, missed very, very barely, very subtly, but left me at 1 hit point, and like, it's that like, and like, I think even Allies said like, nah, you've been greedy too much all game, like I gotta punish you, and just like pulled that out, and like it was just fantastic. So like I don't feel I don't feel that much like I demonstrably won this game. Like, this truly was like a very slight win in my favor. Like, I enjoyed this game quite a lot. I hope everyone else did.
Me too.
Likewise. That's all you can ask for when it's a game we're watching, commentating, and
right.
I have a question though. How did you guys become, because like you clearly, are friends, like you played each other a lot and, can just shit talk each other like nobody's business. How did it how did these friendships start? How did you become friends?
Well, it started because I started playtesting in January. So like the process is just you ask people for games to test things, and then you give feedback. So I asked Magus. No, I think I just send I'm looking for some games. Magus messaged me, and we started playing. And as soon as I tried the Forge, I started talking a bit about them because I was really excited about them. And Magus told me that he was very excited for them to, and worked a lot for them to happen and be great. And so Magus became the master of the Forged. And so I have asked many questions, many replays that he did not send to me yet. Still,
I did send you several replays. Thank you very much.
You did.
All of the ones you asked for.
No, Obsidian Dwarves are still not sent.
Like I remember.
But yeah,
under my name after compliment.
It became quickly like it was fun just to fanboy like you said about that faction, and we've been playing games and just shit talking. I think Magus is a bit like Beansley in the sense that he just wants to have fun.
Cutting out really bad.
Oh,
real quick.
We can still hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Yeah, so Magus is a bit like Beansley, like where the game is not just about winning; it's about having fun. I remember some games with Beansley. I didn't play him that much, but I remember vividly that I've played him when I was a bit down, and he just made some silly moves, very aggressive, just to have fun. That were clearly bad, and it made me chuckle, made me feel great about the game, and that gave me a boost. And sometimes Magus is a bit like that. Sometimes we just play test some games for fun and just do silly things, and it's a great time. So I think we connected there a bit. So yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Here we go.
I think the best scuffles we've had are definitely the ones where the opponents come in as friends.
Yeah.
And there's just something, it's just, crosses the virtual distance. Like, I don't think I would have stayed in this community this long if I didn't see, the community as really just virtual relationships, but real ones. Just different order from real life friends who won't play board games with me because they're dorks.
Exactly.
Join the playtesting server if you want to make friends, I guess.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
That's a great way
Can
to
you
do it.
even
Please
queue
come-
into each other, or do you just
come
kind of
play
have
test
to
with us.
invite each other?
No, you have to ask. Yeah, you can never queue. It's like to play games, you need to like send a message that you want to play games, and someone makes the links, and you play reverse matchup. So it's always like a that's why it's a great comment. You're gonna make friends because you have to ask people to play you.
You have to make friends.
You have to.
When I was new, I actually found that really stressful, and it feels silly now. Like I think Shampoo once made a joke about, Waterdew was looking for challengers in this debate over whether cave goblins versus wayfarers was lopsided. And I think when Shampoo replied, like, I'll dance with you, like I just burst out laughing because it's like that exact feeling of like, yes, why is it so stressful to ask people to dance? Like, why is this? But I think that's definitely the best part of being part of this community is just kind of these private games once you know the other person, and you can laugh about the bad dice rolls together or just do silly moves because they're extra fun.
Oh, absolutely. Even though it's a 1 versus 1 game, like the community makes it a whole experience, in my opinion. Like you feel part of something.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the only board or video gaming community I've ever been part of. I definitely had this image in my head of like, oh, they're all toxic or whatever.
Well, yes.
It can definitely vary from table to table and or group to group, server to server. I think I get that a lot.
Yeah, my experience with video game community is the same.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It can be very, very it depends on the game. When it's a multiplayer game where you depend on other people, it can become incredibly toxic. To win the game, like to do well the game when you need other people, it can become really bad. When it's a game about cooperation or a game against it's a game 1v1 like this, or a game fully against an AI, there can be very sweet communities. But in my experience, when the game is about you are against other players, and those players and you are dependent on other players to win the game, that can become very toxic very quick.
So is it just because you're like forming all these like alliances and guilds and stuff?
No, it's because like when you play the game to succeed inside the game, like other player need to do specific things in order to win the game. And if those players are less good or less experimented than you, you can quickly like be what are you doing, and say very mean things.
So you're just basically being jerks to your teammates because you're mad that you lost.
Exactly.
That doesn't happen in sports at all, right?
And that's
I'm not saying it doesn't happen in sports, but it feels like there's loyalty for longer.
Yeah, video games. You're right, because you see the people, like, because the internet is anonymous somehow. You can say mean shit and not feel like other people are human being, and that when it becomes really bad, in my opinion.
It's also, if you're gonna like the line between like competitive and casual, I feel like is so much harder of a line than it needs to be. Because the most fun you can have is when it's that nice little balance of competitive, but not so much that you're not losing sight of the of why you're playing. You're playing because it's fun. You're playing games because games are fun. And obviously give yourself an objective. Give yourself a challenge so that you have room to grow. That way you're stimulating yourself as you're playing the game. But if you're yelling at your friends because they didn't
Execute something.
execute the thing that they needed to do or whatever, it's like you're missing the point,
Mhm. Mhm.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
and with this, obviously, it's very different. Like it's one-on-one. It's more of like
Yeah.
you're gonna compare it to a game. It's more like a fighting game. But
It's a fighting game. It's got a lot of similarities to fighting games, but I definitely
Yeah.
think the Discord tends to treat it like a collective puzzle solve. Like we're
yeah,
all playing Pandemic together or something.
well,
Mm.
because there's also
That's a
that.
good
It's
way
like
to say it.
the ongoing dialogue of like, do any cards need to be nerfed or buffed?
Mm.
Are these starting setups arranged in a way that's like fair, or is there anything that
Mhm.
like needs to be changed? And like it feels like this ongoing like like puzzle or riddle of like, because there's with every two factions that come out, you've got a whole new set of matchups that you can kind of play with and examine. And obviously that ends up going into a lot of the thinking process with playtesting, but like there's only so much that we can do. So first, more people
Mm.
should come be playtesters.
Ben, are you or were you ever a playtester? I actually don't know the answer to this one.
I am not. I am I am on the server for for complicated like rules related reasons. Don't worry about it.
For reasons my
I
lawyers
might
have
be on the
advised me.
server, but I am not. No, I've stayed away from it, but I am ever grateful. Playtesting seems like fun and also kind of stressful when you get attached to things being a certain way and then they change.
It can, yes.
But like this game needs it. Like there's just no other way to
Mm.
like
Yeah.
balance a game like this. Like we need
Yeah.
the volunteering, the love and the passion of the playtesters to have these factions.
No, it's
Oh,
it's the
playtesters are absolutely the unsung heroes of this game.
like kind of what we were talking about before when my connection was dipping out for a second there. When
Yeah.
allies and I, kind of got to know each other was when we were playtesting Forged, and I've never
Well,
been as involved in the conception of a faction as I was with Forged. Like that was the faction that really made me get into playtesting. And since then I've been relatively active with like other factions as well, but I think beforehand I was a little timid to like kind of get into, everything. I was mostly just kind of just peeking to look at spoilers, but like I'd like try to pop in with like a comment here and there, or like maybe try to play some games when I had a chance, but I was never getting like the 15 or so that you need for the threshold to be able to get some sweet store credit. But yeah, I mean it's stressful because yeah, you can see I mean, for instance, Titan. I don't know if allies could predict me going to talking about Titan.
I absolutely know what you're gonna say.
Like Titan, well, first and foremost, Titan was originally named Spoke, which is a hill that I will die on is a better name, but whatever. we can all argue about that another time. But Titan originally was, I think, for the longest time, Titan was like he had heavy mobile and wrath. So for those who forget what wrath is, it's you have a +1 strength for every damage that you have on
Oh.
you. So as like a synergy with heavy mobile, sort of. Um, it was okay. Like we kind of got the idea, obviously, but it never really felt appropriate. And I remember, I think we had like 2 weeks left. And I didn't come up with this ability, but I was the one that was like, hey, what if we put the old inventor's old ability on Spoke, which is what we now call oh god, what's it called? I just know it as pivot, but
Relocate.
that's not what it's called.
Relocate.
Relocate, yes. Which it used to be called pivot, and it used to be the inventor's original ability when we were playtesting. And I was like, what if we brought that back and put it on Spoke, on Titan? And Nick liked it. He was like, oh shit, wait a minute, that's a good idea. And then Nick was trying to like push for it, and then even Nick was like, I don't know, we might be too late. It's too, like we're too close to like closing. And like I think a lot of us in the server were really like gung ho about like, come on, pivot Spoke. And then I
like
could
a
probably
world pivot in like
Yeah, good friends. Yeah.
and then it made it in. There was Nick posted about an update and was like, we got pivot Spoke, and I'm like, yeah.
So did Nick actually was it Nick's call, or did he actually have to like go through Colby or the rest of the team?
He had to go through. I think my understanding is he still has to like go through the rest of the team. He puts forth a change proposal every so often as we're playtesting and we're discussing kind of ideas and what have you. And Nick will kind of like tell us like, all right, settle down with the ideas. Like, like I always have to remind myself, oh my God, this past faction, I don't know. Like I think I've pitched more ideas for this faction we're currently playtesting more than for just a single card. Like,
oh wow.
Like, when it comes out, I'll talk about it. But like, there's a card that I think I pitched at least like 30 ideas.
Oh yeah,
what this card could be.
At least.
It was absurd.
Wait, do we know the name of this faction yet? Is it one of the ones that's been revealed?
Yeah, I'm curious if we can talk about the fact that
it's been revealed by Nick, but like I'm 95% sure it's been revealed by Colby and Nick on different
I think
streaming things.
Confirmed. I'm just hesitant to
that's fine.
I'm hesitant too.
We'll discover the backstory when discovering it. When we see the deck. No pressure.
I mean, like, I'll say people who can guess. It is a confirmed faction that is next on the docket, and it's I'll say it was a common unit that I pitched an absurd number of ideas for.
Actually, you know what? Give us. Can you give us the? Or no, I mean, no. I'm trying to think. Are the faction symbols at least out? And I think they are, but I won't. I don't want to.
Yeah, no, I couldn't give you that because that would tell everybody. Yeah. You have no idea how much I want to talk about. Like,
me too.
Stopped myself from spoiling something in this conversation already.
Yeah, stop talking. Stop talking.
No, I have a different question actually. So how long were you, I think, both in the playtesting community and the bigger Summoner Wars community before, essentially leveling up your involvement with the Forged? Like, how long were you kind of at the edges?
I mean, I was I think I popped into the server around, oh God, when did I feel like it's been a while. Like
it's been like more than a year, I think.
I remember when what came after Cloaks and Birds?
Oh, Fungal Dwarves and Eternal Council. That's about how long I've been around.
I think when those two came out, that's around when I joined the server. Because I remember the Cloaks, like that's because I had started playing physical, and it took me a bit to realize that that I could play online. And it was around. I know when I started, the Cloaks had just come out, and then the Fungal Dwarves and the Eternal Council were announced. And then I think around when they came out was when I joined the server, just the greater Summoner Wars server. And then I think I joined playtest around when we were playtesting Swamp Orcs. But I don't think I actually got involved until Forged.
So do you think the Forge just kind of like spoke to you, like this is the one, this is the design that makes me really, take that leap?
Oh, you have no idea how obsessed I am with anything like automatons. Like if you were to ask me just conceptually what kind of thematically what kind of faction would you want most? I'd be like, well, I think it'd be dope if I had like a golem faction, or like a faction where like the summoner just makes like, robots or golems or constructs. And then lo and behold, somebody's like, yeah, Joe proposed the forged. I'm like, excuse me? And then yeah, I knew thematically I already was in love with the faction, and I didn't even care about how they would work. And then we were playing, and then I fell in love with how they worked mechanically. So that through and through, I think the Forged really are my favorite faction now, which with Cloaks being an immediate second.
Actually, both of you tell me this about fan lore. And to be clear, I mean, there's no canon. We just make stuff up as we go along. But here is one that someone pitched in the fan lore discussion channel. They had a theory that the inventor is really Leonardo from first edition Cloaks, like from the first edition lore, like the guy who is head of the Cloaks before Vlox. And something happened, we don't know what, and now instead of leading the Cloaks, he's just kind of this bitter old hermit inventing all these contraptions and automatons.
I mean, allies.
Yeah, I've read this. I've read this, and I did not play first edition, but I've devoured everything there is about it. Like every card I've read, and every piece of lore that I could find, I've read, and I find it so cool. That idea. I don't know who wrote it, but like it was a letter. I think someone like it was like a letter that was sent to someone, and it was so. Yeah, I'm into the fact that maybe it was the old Cloaks leader. I don't know where his knowledge of, maybe he was the one that created like the moto boots and the guns and everything that they have, and then he found a summoning stone and it changed. He wanted not the shady part. He wanted the like he wanted to create something of his own, and yeah. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read a ton about that theory. I think I vaguely saw something along those lines. I know I remember that a lot of the early, just simple, not as thought out theories. That even like I think even I was like, oh, like what if is he a guild dwarf? Like, is he a human? Like, what is he? Like, like he's like, is he what does he hail from, or like, what's kind of his background? Like, maybe did he study like with like all of the other like logic factions? Maybe he learned a bit from the polar dwarves, and then learned from like sand goblin technology, and learned from cloaks, and like kind of figured, cobbled together, like became the because he is the inventor. He's the guy, and like that is his title. He has no name otherwise, and so like he is the one who he is the most, or should be, I would think, thematically the most technologically savvy in the Summoner Wars universe. I like the idea of him being Leonardo. I think like I picture that as like maybe, because I know there was a lot of, from what I remember from Cloak's lore, like I remember there was another champion, Violet, who also was skewed or supposed to get a summoning stone and be a summoner herself, and it ended up going to Vlox. Someone in the chat or somebody could probably
Wait, wasn't she Leonardo's daughter?
Oh, that's dope. I didn't know that. That's cool. And now if they bring back Violet, that's gonna be my headcanon that she's the inventor's daughter. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of like, maybe the inventor was the leader, and but Vlox ended up getting kind of like how in the Saga of the Stones for Sneaks, how he got a summoning stone and then just killed the leader of the cave goblins and became the leader of the cave goblins. Sorry, I should have said spoilers for Saga.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Sorry. Oh jeez. See, this is what
I
I'm
think
saying.
anyone who's played that one, who I think by now enough times passed.
Yeah. I mean, you figure that out right away. It's the first
Yeah.
couple lines is But like I could see that being, and that I'd be so excited to see when they get to. I'm happy that they're finally kicking up the Sagas of the Stones again, and I hope they come out with some regularity because I would love to see
No,
what
I can't wait for the lore.
Yeah. And I mean, if Plaid Hat Games just needs like a backup writer to write some lore,
You
can shoot me an
you've
email.
asked
They
for a
have my
job in
email
like
address.
5 different ways for Plaid Hat.
The way I constantly, shamelessly, I'm just like, hey, is Plaid Hat Games hiring? Hey, if you want a full-time playtester who can just like sit and only playtest for several hours throughout the day, then I'm your guy. I'll do it for minimum wage. Don't mind me. No, but no, I mean that's a cool theory. I can't like there's no like we don't know anything. Like we don't know any like secret knowledge about like the lore of Summoner Wars or anything like that. All we know is what's coming out soon as playtesters.
Yeah.
And so and even then really all we know is like what the factions after the factions that are about to be released are. So like, we've got Storm Goblins and Shimmer Sea Fae coming up. Like we are doing the ones that are coming after that. Like and that's really it. And then like nothing else is like I think set in stone to us. Like I will still learn things and be spoiled or get teasers of information from the main server before I even learn it in the playtesting server. Like I should say. So I mean, like there's only so much that we know.
I always appreciated the people that summarized Colby's streams, which I can't watch on during Pacific time. If they were my lunchtime, then sure, maybe. But I will never be able to catch those. So I appreciate the people who immediately come back to the Discord with little tidbits and little things he's revealed.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I definitely.
They're the real heroes. Sorry.
Yes.
Shout out to Torchu and Igor Born.
Yeah.
I think those two are the spoiler guys.
Yep.
Absolutely. Although Colby really needs to learn to tag that just tag that role himself.
True. Yeah.
That's my new mission is like, come on, Colby, I can't be online at 10 a.m. Friday. Just like tag the Discord for a stream I'm not watching.
Yeah, just say it. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I definitely am glad that he's streaming again. I hope he's enjoying it. I feel like people were reporting back that he seemed a little bit burned out when he was trying to do it daily at lunchtime.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Couldn't be me.
No.
So weird. Like, how do you talk to yourself for that long, Ben? Like, it's easy for me because I have, I don't even think of it as streaming. It's just like, a Zoom call or something.
I mean, I would just need to add a camera. I already do that in my day-to-day life. Just
Yeah, I think I've always like
no
been
one's
looking
laughing. No
for
one acknowledged that was a joke.
No, it's real. Like that didn't seem like a joke now. Everyone's always looking to go a little bit insane, and being a streamer is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, I'm refraining for slandering you, Ben, but yeah, you're a great guy. You're a great guy.
Streams like C tier, so kind of cringe, but.
Wait, what's C tier?
No, man, it was just self-deprecating humor. It's all the rage.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's so funny when Ben's talking and like he's covering the space as a good streamer does, but sometimes he talks like he talks to himself very much. Like he talks about a strategy and then he says, "Fine, you've convinced me," and then he does it. It's so funny. It's like you're such a dork. Fine, he mumbles. We don't even understand sometimes. He mumbles things and then he says, "Fine, you've convinced me," and he just does it. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh, my brain. I feel like I just have this like this old person brain that can't fully wrap their head around streaming.
Mm.
Like I think with this, with Summoner Wars, I feel like the audience is small enough and the people are all, a lot of them are like regulars from the Discord. Otherwise, I just feel like I don't want my kid like growing up aspiring to be a YouTuber or something. Yes, I am streaming right now. I'm aware of this. No, I posted that image to Discord a while back. It was just like this like street scene from Beijing where like, these two old men are sitting outside at a cafe table playing Chinese chess, and like there's this like crowd of like a dozen guys all watching him. And like that's how I think of streaming in this community, is like it's not that different from like that scene in the park in my head of just like just kind of like like, and literally like this was on like every other street corner in Beijing like when I lived there briefly. It's just like it would always be like kind of these old men playing chess on the streets. It was kind of awesome. Like they'd comment on moves and stuff the way we are.
Shoot, I was hoping I pulled up your stream. I was hoping I could like read the chat, but I realized Twitch you can't you can only see I can only see new chat messages now.
I think we're
Hi,
back
chat.
a little bit. I think if the inventor is Leonardo, Balzar is Raphael.
Ooh.
I don't remember the turtles well enough to like map their personalities to summoners.
There's Leonardo. Yeah, I mean Balzar's Raph. Well, in that case the inventor would be Donatello. If we were talking Ninja Turtles. Inventor would be Donatello.
Guy.
I mean, what's the rule? Do they all have to be fire summoners then? And Balzar's Raphael.
Well, who's Moldaria?
What's the name of the female one?
April? No, Moldaria is Splinter. Or no, not Splinter. Shredder.
Yeah.
Which one is Shredder?
Shredder's the villain. Shredder's the yeah.
Yeah.
I approve.
Let's see. Who are the other fire factions? I guess there's not that many yet. There's only 4. There's only the 4, yeah.
Oh, Con Queso is Splinter.
Con Queso Splinter. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course.
So are we getting a rat faction?
Oh, that'd be great. I would love that.
I would be all over that.
I did.
Well, one thing that's interesting is that like the comment about the things we know, the playtesters knowing only the faction after the next release. Here, there is a special case where in the public server, in the spoilers server, it's been spoiled already that one faction has been confirmed because there is official art for Olden, the summoner for the Guild Dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
So this time we have 3 faction that has been revealed by Colt and Nick, but yeah, we cannot say more than there is an image in the spoiler server about the Guild Wars.
No, the tree faction was my dream. The tree faction was my dream from like when I was like pretty darn new here. Oh, I'm excited.
Oh yeah. I think my wish list is, I'm always ready for more golem construct fun. Whatever shape that would look like. Like I would
Golem
love to see
faction.
a
Golem
golem
faction,
like they
period.
brought back like Raoul, the mercenary summoner from one of the mercenary summoners from first edition. He was all about, he had stone golems, which back then they weren't like that like great. They were basically just ice golems, but they weren't gates. So they were just slow, but there was a lot of things you can do with them, with like events and such. Like you could reconstruct them and bring them back, or bring back a gate or a wall. Walls being what gates used to be called in first edition.
Mhm.
But it was all like magic. It was like spell. It was absolutely, see, if Joe wants to program me a special unique icon, I would love Raoul, because that'd be perfect. No, but that was a fun faction just overall. The first edition mercenaries. And obviously they wouldn't be mercenaries this time around, because I think they've expressed that they don't want to do a mercenary deck, and they don't want to do. I think they specifically only want to do mercenary champions for mercenaries.
That makes
Which
sense.
I think you could do some commons. I think mercenary commons could be fun.
Even if they serve the purpose of promos, though, like
yeah,
you know,
it's true. It's hard to do a promo pack of 4 cards instead of.
Remember Donald X, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, from Dominion, I think wrote a secret history of the promos. And the way he described it was that they're a little tricky to design, in that fundamentally they have to be non-essential to the game, yet fun to own.
Yeah.
You know? So I can see champions just kind of fitting that bill of just, they're slightly weird. They're not necessarily that great unless they're Brub. But, you know, they serve the promotional purpose and the fun purpose.
They're just a fun little thing.
And they drive completionists crazy if they can't find them all.
Yeah. Yes, the way that my incomplete first edition set haunts me to this day, and I know I will never have enough money to hunt down like on eBay all the remaining like second summoners and expansion packs that I don't have.
That's why you work so much now.
That's
why
you
spend all your money.
I gotta spend all my money on Summoner Wars, exactly. No, but so instead I'm just pouring everything into second edition. I will own every goddamn card that Plaid Hat Games puts out, if it kills me.
Yeah.
We're all gonna have to wait a year before we can get Tress until the Dice Tower promo. It's exclusive.
Do we know I haven't been following, but like what's the game tie-in that she's from? Or like what's
I don't remember.
It's from like the Plaid Hat has made a game called Freelancer. It's an RPG about like a campaign and such, and there's a kind of sequel that's been announced, and it's basically a similar game but set in a futuristic world with science fiction and aliens and everything, and Tress is from that world.
Oh, okay, so she's an alien, not like a Dungeons and Dragons type character. Okay, cool.
No, yeah.
Is that the one they're kickstarting?
Yes, it's the one they're going to Kickstarter. Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
Now, Summoner Wars in space.
I was gonna say Summoner Wars Dungeons and Dragons just sounds like the amalgamation of my favorite things.
Oh my gosh, who was that one who posted that thing about Summoners War cross promotion with The Witcher?
Oh god.
It's Baggins, I think.
Oh my god. No, I'm just upset we didn't get The Witcher. Like, what's up with that?
Is Baggins in the chat? Are you here?
He was there earlier.
He was there earlier, yeah. Well, we're approaching time, so we should wrap up soon. Any more questions or anything you guys want to talk about before we go ahead and call things?
No, if you guys liked it, we would be glad to do the forged mirror at some point. It'd be fun. I think we would need more time because I'm absolutely gonna try out the shit out of that game.
Oh,
But yeah,
No, I'm gonna have like a piece of paper and I'm gonna like write down and count cards and track when you killed magic and like I'm gonna do it.
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
go all out on that if we're doing a
Oh, yeah.
forged inventor mirror match.
Oh yeah, the dice simulator is going to be open at all times, and yeah, we're gaming. We're gaming.
That would be yeah.
So they'll be gaming, and Ben and I'll just be memeing.
Yeah.
As if that's not what we're
Absolutely.
always doing.
It's true.
Very true.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess y'all will just have to see that next time.
Yeah, we'll be sure to get you guys back on at some point for that. Thank you so much for coming on. That was a blast, and it was great to hear.
Yeah.
Great to hear your takes on all of these wacko factions and the playtesting server and video game communities and everything. Thanks so much for chatting. It's been great.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Thanks,
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Right. Take
Well,
care.
with that, yeah, I will.
care.
I will catch you guys later. Bye bye.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Toodles.
Bye.
Bye.
And I'll go ahead and say that we will. So scuffles are bi-weekly. So we do one every 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that.